In this video, we investigate which traction control is fastest, both in the dry, and as you can see, also in the wet. Hello everyone, and welcome to another slightly different video. I do love doing these kind of videos, and today, if you haven't already guessed by the thumbnail and title, we're looking at traction control today, because I do get a lot of questions about it in comments. What traction control did I use? Normally I'm on 0 for those asking. However, why am I on 0 and why am I not using traction control? Well, this is the fundamental question we're going to figure out today. So in GT Sport, I actually did a video on traction control. We looked at acceleration, etc. And found out that traction control was slower to use, mainly because it impacted changing gear. It would literally activate on a change of gear, which then slowed the acceleration. If you're doing that round a lap, obviously that adds up very quickly. So traction control was not used in GT Sport. I did notice when I started playing GT7 that that wasn't the case anymore with changing gear. However, does it impact us in any other way? And this is the whole point of the test. It gives you the information. It also tells me whether I should be using it or not, which is also interesting to me as well, especially in certain use case scenarios. Now, if you do enjoy this video, as always, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content. We are on this fantastic journey at the moment. Big thank you to all the support this month. It's been absolutely insane. And yeah, we have more specials coming, so do stay tuned. Now, with the test, what we're going to do for traction control as we get back into this video then is that we're going to do 4 tests, and then we're going to go into some laps as well to really get a feel for traction control and where should you use it, where does it fit in terms of the grand scheme of Gran Turismo. So we're going to do an acceleration in Group 3 in the dry. We're going to do an acceleration in Group 4 in the dry. Just 0 to 100 or a certain speed. I'm not sure what yet. I'll do a test after I've done this intro. And literally what we're looking out for here is, do we lose any time setting off? You know, foot to the floor, off we go. So you expect wheel spin with no traction control, and you expect absolutely nothing with the maximum traction control. And we'll have a look at that and see what happens. We're then going to do the same thing, but in the wet. So torrential rain, we're going to go out there and we'll do it on intermediates just because then we get a bit more wheel slip, and arguably you normally always use intermediates anyway, even on a wet circuit in Gran Turismo. And we'll do the same thing again in Group 3 and Group 4 and see what differences there are. Is traction control helping, not helping? And then we'll go from there. What's also very helpful at the moment is the daily race and time trials we have available, which is going to help with this test. I've been waiting for this sort of scenario to come up, and finally it's up and available to use, which is why this video is coming out right now. So daily race B is Suzuka Group 3 racing medium tires. Literally my go-to combo. As you know, I do car profiles, and Suzuka medium tires is literally what we do. So I'm very consistent there. We're going to go out at Suzuka. We're going to do laps on no traction control 1, traction control 3, and traction control 5. And literally we'll put them together and see what is faster, what is slower, the optimum times as well, because optimums give you a better understanding. Again, like the car profiles, they give you an overall idea of how fast the car is, rather than one given fastest lap where you could get a little bit lucky. We're then going to go to time trial. Now, when I talk about time trial, I'm talking about the wet time trial. I said we've been waiting ages for a wet time trial. We really have, and finally we have one, and I can really test it, because when it's a daily race in terms of wet weather, the conditions change each and every time you restart. However, a time trial is equal performance. So finally we can do a test properly, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go out in the Ferrari 458 because that's the fastest GT3 car in the selection there at the moment. And once again, we're going to do traction control 0, traction control 1, traction control 3, and traction control 5. We'll then have a look at optimums again, see how it impacts it in terms of overall lap time, and then you can decide which traction control you can use. I'll have some ideas then about traction control, so I'll summarize, and then that'll be the end of the video. Now, all those chapters are going to be down below, so if there's a specific area you do want to go to, do check out the description. There's timestamps there, or hopefully YouTube. Sometimes it doesn't do it for some odd reason. Let's put the chapters in for you, and you can click to any part of the video. Hopefully you're going to watch all of it, which helps out the channel massively, and that means I can do bigger and better videos and give you more testing, which is exactly what you want. This is why you're here for this video. Without further ado then, let's get into that first test, which is the acceleration in Group 3 in the dry. Okay, here we are in the Supra then. We've chosen Special Stage Route X because we've got these distance lines, and this is how we're going to do all these first tests, okay, in the dry. We're going to head to the 1,000 meter board here. We're going to line up at the line. And we're just going to prepare ourselves here. So we don't have to set traction control on this one. You can see it's traction control 0 right there. And all we're going to do is wait until the 30-second mark. So at 25 seconds, we're going to rev the car. We've got the handbrake on. And once we release the handbrake, at 30 seconds, that is when we're going to go. And here we go then. So we set off there. You notice a little bit of wheel spin, a little bit of squirreling there going on. And we change gear. We're going to head all the way to 100. And there we finish. So we take the start time of when that handbrake was released. I take exactly where it was released and then the time there, and I minus it, and then I get an overall time. Now, what we're going to do now is show all 5 traction controls. Now, you can see the handbrake button there. Literally, as that disappears, as that light goes out, that's where the timer starts. That's what we're going to do right here then. We set off again. So we've got traction control, 1 in the center, then 2, 3, 4, 5 around it here. And we're going to head to 100. And the first one to get to 100 is traction control 4 there, which is interesting in itself. Now, the others are there or thereabouts as well. Now, one problem with this test, I suspect, is to do with gear changing and manual, but we'll have a look at that in a second. So, in the 0 to 100 test, we can see here, traction control 4, 1 there, 7.066, then 5, 2, 1, 3, then 0. 0 is at the bottom, which is where we expected it to be. But those test results are a little bit all over the place. I suspected to do with manual gear shifting. What we did, we lined all the tests up and we're going to 150 miles an hour. We're just going to see if this is because of shifting. They should all get there at the same time. There should be no impact. And they don't there. Down in the bottom left-hand side, you can see 150 is hit first by traction control 4. I did line them up before someone says you didn't. I did. I relined them up and I was obviously changing gear more optimally in that test down in the bottom left-hand side. Just to confirm then here, you can see those test results right there in terms of traction control. So 0 actually won in the end. I was obviously better at gear shifting in traction control 0. But 2, 3, and 5, the exact same times. It shows you traction control does not impact the gear shifting, okay? All it's going to impact in terms of the car, in terms of traction control, is when the car loses traction. So in this case, the rear wheels of the Toyota Supra at the start line, that's where it's significant. What we'll do now, jump into group 4. We're going to jump into a front-wheel drive car for this one, just because they'll spin the wheels up even more, and we're going to set it to automatic transmission as well to take out that human element of the gear shifts. Here we are then with the Audi, and we're going to do the same situation. I'm just going to show you on 0 traction control. Automatic is on now, so the game will shift for me. That should hopefully take out more human intervention and give us a much better result. But it did show the significance of changing gear at the right time. We head towards that 30-second mark then, and we're going to release the handbrake, and off we go. Now, I don't actually calculate it from 30,000. I do actually mark it at the exact time, and I have a spreadsheet of those times. We head towards 100 miles an hour. We're hitting the limits there. We did have wheel spin as well, and 100 miles an hour is met there in the Audi TT. You'll also see tyre temps down in the bottom left. If you've been paying attention, you can see the difference of those, but they're not really a factor here. We now go to all 5 traction controls then. 1 in the center, then 2, 3, 4, 5 around the outside. And we're going to see which one gets to 100 miles an hour first. Remember, it's on automatic transmission now, so we're just waiting to see when we get there. And literally, traction control 1 and traction control 2 have got to 100 first, but 3, 4, and 5 are not that far behind either, to be brutally honest with you. They're very, very close in the grand scheme of it. Now, what we will do, we'll work this all out in terms of exactly where they are in times, and here you have it. So 1 and 2 identical. In fact, 4 was identical. Why is it different on the actual video? That's because of the frames. Sometimes you can have a frame lag. 5 is basically the same as 4, 3. Literally, traction control in 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, they all are basically the same. No idea why 3 is slightly higher. Again, that could just be a frame issue. The critical thing there, traction control was all faster than traction control 0, but it's all identical, which is really interesting. It shows that the strength of traction control is not really impacting accelerating, which is a surprise to me, if I'm brutally honest with you, because I expect more of the traction control to come in more when they're struggling. Now, we've just got to 150 there, all identical, all the same, so we know changing gear now has no impact with traction control, which is good to know. And it's good, you know, if you are using traction control at the start of a race, you can start it in 1, keep it in 1 for a little while before obviously you get to a corner or a turn. So you can see that I'm not going to go through times on that because they're going to be identical. We're going to go to a wet track now, and we're going to see the differences here. So this is what I do. I went to high speed ring. I do a little handbrake turn. We're going to head towards the start-finish line. We're going to whiz it round again, and then we're going to get to the line and hopefully do the same thing. Now, I've put the driving line on here, so I start in the exact same place to try and minimize any issues with variances in the wet weather. And again, we're just waiting to 30 seconds and we will release and then off we go. Here we go then. So foot to the floor. I have to be very careful about the car spinning out here. So I'm trying to keep that white line next to my speedo in the center of the driving line as we continue on as we get to 100 miles an hour. And you can see that it was very squirrely as we got to that moment. So I do suspect traction control to have more of an impact here in terms of gripping and helping a player. So we've gone to all 5 traction controls then, doing the same sort of thing here. And we're going to get all the way to 100 mile an hour and then see where the times are. Now, I can't really tell if there's any difference there. There is. So weirdly, 1 and 3 are ahead. Now, 2 is on 98. And this is where wet weather can be unpredictable, let's put it that way. But it should be the same. It's equal conditions. We go out, in and out, in and out, in and out all the time. And here he's got 3 and 1. They're basically the same. Arguably 3 is higher, but again, that's a frame rate issue. Arguably, it will be the same. And then we've got 2 and 5, which are the same, but 1/10 after. I don't quite understand that. 4 then is a bit later, and 0, of course, is at the back there in the Supra. Very bizarre, I've got to be honest with you. We'll see if it's the same in the Audi TT. We're in the Audi TT right here, but those results are very odd to me. They really are very odd. So we head towards 100 miles an hour. Are we seeing anything unusual? So traction control 2 this time. It was the slowest, or one of the slower ones for the Supra. Now one of the quickest ones in the Audi TT. So you can see this is getting very complicated very quickly in terms of which one you should use. And at the moment, I'm none the wiser. So, you know, I suspect you are as well. Interestingly, traction control 0 was faster. And I was like, how is that even possible? Because it's got wheel spin. And it made no sense to me. And you can see it gets slower as we go down the traction controls. So let's actually have a look at this traction control 0 start then, because it's confused me massively. So again, we're going to release and off we go. And the critical thing here is we are so far into the rev range there. We're in the power band. And I think that's the critical part of this. We're in the power band for longer, so we get more power down, or arguably spinning, and that helps. So I feel like in Gran Turismo, that's actually impactful in the fact that you have to look at each car individually. If a car is very much at the top end of the power band, like the Audi TT, you actually don't want to use traction control because you really want to be at the top end of the power band. And that's why traction control 0 was faster in the wet in the Audi TT than any of the others. Again, it makes no sense to me. It seems very bizarre because you want the tyre to grip, but that is the current physics engine. Very bizarre indeed. Now, I realise that hasn't helped in the slightest probably for some of you, because you've probably gone, Tidge, you've given me 5 different settings there, and literally I am none the wiser to which one is faster or slower or whether I should be using it at all. I realise that as well, because I'm doing the test as I record this, and literally, I'm none the wiser either. At the moment, I feel like you can either use it or not use it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to those laps. So Daily Race B, Lamborghini, we're going to do 5 laps in traction control 0, in traction control 1, in traction control 3, and in traction control 5. So first up then, traction control 0, and you see that down in the bottom left hand side. I've also put the traction control button on the right hand side in big and large so you can see when it activates. Of course, on 0, you shouldn't see it go red at all because it's not even on. It's not even white, so you definitely know it's not on. Now, we're going to just do the first half of the lap, because the second half of the lap, arguably, is just flat out, or there's a very few corners. This is where it matters. Going into here, of course, you're accelerating, you're on and off the throttle, you expect a bit of oversteer in there, and potential spinning up of wheels, which will get you rotation on traction control 0, but where traction control, in theory, should come in when it's on, and this is the critical part. So we've got 33.3 there in terms of sector 1. It's good to keep a reminder of these sector times. We're going to go into Tidgney 1 then. No issues there at all. Tidgney 2 into the right. Normally a lot of issues on exit with this. And you can see that I was off throttle for a little bit longer than normal as we head towards the hairpin. Another 0.3 there, so that's good to know. We can remember 0.3s for days now. As we go into the hairpin, on exit this can be issues, but MR car not so much. But I wanted to use this car because it is the top car. We can follow the Ghost as well. Traction control is on 1 now as we go into turn number 1. Let's see what happens versus the Ghost as well as we go into the right-hander. Start to accelerate out of here. No real traction control issues there at all. So as we go into the left and then the right, I'm not seeing that button highlight up at all. So I'm expecting this to be very close. But what I want to say is, remember, this is with traction control on 1 already. So arguably, if it does come on, it's just going to be of help. Because at the moment, I've not activated it at all. That could be my driving style here as we go through the left-hander. Another 0.3 there. So we are matching traction control 0 right now. So it's not as intrusive as it used to be, because it used to intrude quite a lot on your driving style. Going into Tidgney 1, or your driving, should I say. Into Tidgney 2 we go. We're going to start to accelerate. Oh, a flash of it there. I just saw it flash a little bit there. That potentially would have stopped a potential oversteer moment. We're under 0.3 there, in the 0.2s. Maybe a benefit then, traction control 1, as we go into the hairpin. As we leave here, does it flash on? No, not really. So it's not really impacted us that much. Let's go to traction control 3 then, as we go in towards turn number 1. Just slowing the car down nicely. We're going to start. Oh, hello. It's coming on a bit more now. It's intruding a bit more in terms of the driving. But we've not lost too much time to the Ghost, to be fair, as we go into these corners. And again, it's just coming on now. You can see that as we go into the left hand. Potentially, we really are losing time here. Remember, this car, the Lamborghini, requires you to be at the top end of the revs to get the maximum out of it. We go on through here, though, and it's still in the 0.3s, arguably, so it's not that much slower in the grand scheme of it, and arguably, it could save quite a lot of you. Those who do struggle with oversteer, this could be a method or something to use in terms of traction control 3. In towards the right we go. Again, it's coming on here, so we're seeing it become more impactful then. Through the right we go. It's on permanently there. So we do lose acceleration now. You just saw that. The Ghost started accelerating away. Still a 0.3, though. Still a 0.3, but the Ghost started to accelerate away, which shows you that the power was being limited there at that point where the Ghost didn't have that limited power. So we'll go to traction control 5 now, and we just saw it being very intrusive on traction control 3. So we're going to go into the right-hander, and now that light's permanently on there. Look at that as we leave that corner. So we are going to be struggling here a little bit, I suspect, as we go into here. One thing I did notice using traction control here on 5 is that I very much felt like the car couldn't spin. I could be really aggressive on throttle, like really, really, really aggressive. Let's have a look at its first set time then. 0.6, so we're 3 tenths down. Again, I would argue that's not that intrusive, you know. If you are struggling with wheel spin, do start looking at traction control is what I'm gathering from this one, because 1 was really, it didn't impact me at all, to be honest with you. It would save me, I suppose, but had no real impact. 3 was very much there or thereabouts, but I would say it's a bit slower than without traction control 1. I mean, we've got a 0.5 there. We're only a 10th and a half off. So total, what's that? 3, 4, call it 5, well, half a second down in the complex section there. We'll leave the hairpin then. And what we will do is actually have a look at those optimum times. Remember, I look at optimum in the end, not just fastest laps. And traction control 1 is top. It's top. Now, that was a surprise to me as well, to be honest with you. Now, arguably, I started with 0. I did a warm-up, then did 0, then did 1, 3, 5. Arguably, 0 can get that time as well. I have no quarrels about that, but the fact 1 is there, and it did give me some confidence. Tidgney 2 especially, it gave me a lot of confidence in Tidgney 2, because it just meant I could put my foot down and know that it wasn't just going to instant wheel spin out. And it's sort of in my head now that I potentially should use traction control a little bit more than I have been. It's definitely different now in Gran Turismo. The fact it is 0.0, 0.2, and then 0.3 for traction control 3, you know, it's not that far off again with traction control 3. It's significant in my mind. Traction control 5 is definitely slower. You would definitely see its power being limited at that point. With it being 1 second slower than 3, it's very much there. But what I'm seeing here is that you should consider traction control. You really need to consider it, actually, because if you are struggling, potentially there is some benefit to you there. Now, yes, it will reduce the need for driver skill, but at the end of the day, in real life, drivers use traction control. It's there to help. If you want to go as fast as you can, you use traction control. It's like ABS. We don't use ABS off, do we? Because ABS default is faster. Same situation here. If you're faster with traction control, give it a try based on these numbers. We'll do a final test then. We're going to go to a wet circuit at Red Bull Ring, and we're going to see what it's like with traction control on. First up though, traction control off, and let's have a look at this lap. So I did the same sort of thing here. I did a warm-up first, and now I'm getting into the flow of it. We can follow the Ghost up ahead as well to see the difference in traction control. Third gear through turn 1. Not seeing any major issues so far. It is very slippy here, and arguably harder to be consistent just due to how slippy it can be. We'll see what it's like though as we go into the next turn then. So crossing over that racing line. And we bring it back, as I told you to do in the guide. Now, if you don't follow me or you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. I do guides for all time trials that happen to get you those 2 million credits. We're going to head down here, though. We're not having too many issues so far, as we look for the third dash on the left-hand side. And go into this right-hander as we go into here. We just have to really hold off on the throttle there, because we know the car would oversteer straight away and lose traction due to that racing line. We head over towards the left-hander then. Calming it down nicely here. Staying in third gear. I didn't want to risk second in this one because I felt that made it more inconsistent. So I'm just going to stay in third gear for the majority of these runs then. As going to left-hander, this is very slippy here. Notice how much I am not using the throttle there. Huge amounts of oversteer as well on exit as we continue on out of there and head towards the final couple of corners here then. So onto the brakes we go. This is the fastest lap I did. You can see the optimum down at the bottom, which is what we're actually going to use there. A little bit squirrely on exit. We're actually losing a lot of time here. And we were up by quite a margin there as we exit the final corner. We're going to head towards the line then. What is that? That's a 0.4 here on traction control 0. On my warm-up, I did that 0.275. So, you know, there is time there. And this is what I'm on about with inconsistency. Or consistency, should I say. So through here, you can see the traction control light absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree here on traction control 1 then. So it really was helping me through turn 1 as we head towards the next corner. At similar sector times, I think we're getting here. 0.1s. And let's see what this one is, because we are up. Yeah, it's similar sector time, so having no real issue, but saving me here. This is where it can get slippy here as we go. Oh, slipped on the exit there as well. So traction control 1 didn't help hugely. However, it did grip up again as we continue on through here. And we're going to head down. Now, I will say, during the traction control 1 run, I actually found it harder to drive the car. Now, let me explain. I felt like traction control just came in at the wrong time, which meant I was trying to control it when I didn't really want it to control. And you just, again, see the rear go there. And I don't feel like it's working properly. So, traction control 1 to me felt just a bit off, in my opinion. It really did. We're going to the left-hander here, though. And is it going to light up? No, not lighting up. You can see there. So, it's not, when it's not really activating, I seem fine. So, yeah, it's not something I really would want to use. I did struggle a little bit here. Managed to get a lot of grip there on the exit as we continue towards the final couple of corners. We'll see if it activates here on the final couple of corners. We are up on our lap time here. Currently, it's the 37.8, but I can't remember if I had actually messed up the last corners a couple of times here on traction control 1. Again, just due to the weird way it was working, it felt like it was just cutting it at real wrong times. We go through the last corner then, and yes, we did. Look at that. Look how much we're gaining here. So we head towards the line. What's that going to be? That's a 37.1. Oh, well, there we go. We just beat our record there on this account. Right, we head up towards the right-hander here then. This is traction control 3 as we go into here. Getting lit up a lot here. Staying lit up for longer there, it looked like, as well. And we got a 0.1, remember, on both traction control 0 and traction control 1 from memory. So we'll see what this is in terms of sector 1 then as we come into here. And, oh, it's just above a 0.1. So, you know, I'd say that's evens, to be honest with you, as we go through here. It's still lit up there, lit up a lot, but not sliding there. So it allowed me to just keep on the power there, not having to worry about modulating the throttle, which is significant in my opinion, because remember, the game can do that far better than we can. And I'm going to talk about Sophie in just a second as we go into the right-hander then. And we go through here. Again, we're a bit further up on the throttle there. And it just allows us to keep high up, so when the grip does happen, it's just instantly there rather than having to guess when the grip is going to come back. Now, I was going to say about GT Sophie, this is why GT Sophie is so good, because obviously it knows exactly how much grip it has at that moment and therefore can do the inputs necessary at that point, which is far better than we as humans can in terms of our reaction. A bit slippy there on that racing line. However, we do straighten it up here and we're going to head towards the final couple of corners. We're on a 37.2 already and we are down at the moment, but obviously we are going to increase that time because this is the fastest lap I did. As we go through the right hand, that was very... Oh, a little bit of a wiggle, but I would argue the traction control saved us there. In towards the right we go. An excellent last corner. We accelerate towards the line then, so we are going to improve here. It's going to be at a 0.1. Not quite. However, that optimum is coming down. We'll have a look what it is at the very end. Traction control 5 then. In towards turn 1 we go for the final time here. Going through here, this should be lit up like crazy here. And you can see it's just, yeah, staying lit up for a very long time there on traction control 5. So it was really cutting the power at that point. Very slippy, of course, so you do expect it to do that. But is it like overpowering? That's what we need to look at here as well as we go into the next corner. It's still a 0.2. Still a 0.2 in sector 1. That's significant because while it's still there, it's not impacting this at all really in the grand scheme of it. We'll leave that corner then. I'm going to head down towards the right-hander. Arguably, was it overpowering there? I don't know. I wanted to show you all these laps just so you could have a feel for this as well as we go hard on the brakes, crossing that line again. Going to bring it back. Now, I will say this. In traction control 3 and traction control 5, I did find the hairpin, turn 2 or turn 3, whatever you want to call it, okay, the right-hander. I found that first gear was actually viable, so it allowed me to have a new gear available. Obviously, in first gear in traction control 0, the car would just spin out. But in this, it allowed me to stay up higher in that power band. Now, I didn't use it all the time because it was a little bit inconsistent. but it was possible to do, and it's something to keep in mind. Now, going here on the racing line, I could use the racing line that little bit more compared to not having traction control on. Something to consider if you are struggling in wet weather or even struggling with this time trial. We go towards the final couple of corners then, just braking, bringing it in there, just touching the racing line. That definitely wasn't quicker doing it that way. But again, this is why I look at optimum times. We go into the final corner and we accelerate out there and looking very stable indeed. We head towards the line then. That's going to be what, a 0.3? I think that's going to be. And optimum down to a 0.1 as well. What we will do then, we'll have a look at all the optimums. We'll put them in order and let's see where they are. And as you can see, traction control 0 was top. Then it was 1, then it was 3, then it was 5. But 1/10 between all of them tells me that traction control can be very beneficial for everybody. Absolutely everybody. Are you getting frustrated at a certain combo? Use traction control. It's there. And that's the opinion I'm taking away from these tests. Because traction control in the past was very intrusive. The reason you didn't use it was because it would activate on gear changes and it would just slow you down. It was like half a tenth each and every time you did a gear change, which is mental. It's not that case anymore. And traction control, arguably, is now very helpful indeed. And you're seeing that with the Red Bull times in the background. We've seen that with all the other tests we've done. It's been very close indeed. And what traction control will allow you to do is just allow you to get a better control of the car on exits. And that is the critical part of this. It won't help you anywhere else, but on exits, when you're going on throttle, it will just help you out that little bit more and hopefully increase your enjoyment of the game where potentially you were struggling. That's what I'm going to take away from this. I'm going to use traction control a little bit more. I suspect they use it in real life as well. As I can see here, it's actually very beneficial. A big thank you for watching this video. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. A lot of work and a lot of effort went into this video, and I appreciate all the support. 2 videos there to check out as well if you are interested, of course. Do check out GT Amiga. Use code Tidgney at checkout for a discount. But that is it for me, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.